Good morning, Michelle Saxman here, and ready to share with you some Time with Jesus Calling by Sarah Young on October the 9th. You have been on a long uphill journey, and your energy is almost spent. Though you have faltered at times, you have not let go of my hand. I am pleased with your desire to stay close to me. There is one thing, however, that displeases me: your tendency to complain. You may talk to me as much as you like about the difficulty of the path we are following. I understand better than anyone else the stresses and strains that have afflicted you. You can ventilate safely to me because talking with me tempers your thoughts and helps you see things from my perspective. Complaining to others is another matter altogether. It opens the door to deadly sins such as self-pity and rage. Whenever you are tempted to grumble, come to me and talk it out. As you open up to me, I will put my thoughts into your mind and my song into your heart. I have two takeaways here, and then I maybe we'll share a story to see how much I talk going through these other two things. One is complaining is focusing on the things that we don't want to have happen, or it's focusing on what we don't want. That's complaining. Hope is talking about things that we do want. So complaining is, I'm just going to talk about the power of our thoughts. And it says, we become what we imagine. This is the Supernatural Ways of Royalty. Got a pen sticking out the top, but the Supernatural Ways of Royalty. I love this book. And we become what we imagine. And what we imagine tends to be what we're talking about. It says, if we feed our imagination with thoughts of what we don't want to become, we drink from the well of regret. We reproduce that very thing in ourselves. It doesn't matter what we want to reproduce. It's only important what we imagine while we are thinking and drinking at the watering hole of our imagination. We tend to reproduce what we feast our thoughts upon. So if we're complaining, chances are we're feasting our thoughts upon a negative circumstance. But we're also reminded here, it says, I'm pleased with your desire to stay close to me. And that's where the pen was. So I wanted to share with you again in the same book. This was a creative definition, meaning, and interpretation of desire. And I wrote it down, desire. Bill Johnson has a creative definition of desire. He breaks it down into the two parts, D meaning of, and sire meaning father. When we delight ourselves in God instead of hanging out in our past, He becomes the father, the sire of our dreams. So it is so important to align our desires, like truly that emotional desire, because it is our emotions that communicate in the spiritual realm. So truly having that really fired up desire to be with the Heavenly Father. We've climbed this mountain. We've continued to hold His hand. That pleases Him so much. So when things are going wrong, instead of complaining, focus on what we do want. That is what will manifest. Having that, literally that energetic level of gratitude, not just in our thoughts, but in our heart and our mind. Then I thought, I do have another moment. So I will share a story with you of a circumstance that was a really difficult time that our family was going through, and we had just moved. This is about 8 years ago. And we had just moved about an hour and a half away from our home into a new city, kids starting school. And y'all, this was a time in the housing market where properties were not selling. And we had a few too many mortgages for a little bit too long. And I went for a walk, and I was so mad at God. But here's Jacob, wrestle in the tent, stay in that tent, know who you're fighting with, and then you know who the victor will be. So I go for a walk, and I am mad, I am livid, and I'm like, so you say you can move mountains, but you can't sell this house. And I hear in my spirit, I sent my son. And I continue walking, and I'm mad, and I'm like, so you sent your son, I need you to sell this house. still. So I'm walking it out with him. I'm wrestling in the tent with the angel. And again, I hear this, I sent my son. And I'm like, I don't care that you sent your son. I know you sent your son. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. You're telling me you sent your son. So no matter what, even if we end up in bankruptcy, I'll see you. I'll see your son. Oh, okay. So I just got to walk it out and trust. But you guys, and we never went to bankruptcy or anything, but stay in the tent. Know whose you are, know who you are. And I literally, it was like Jacob wrestling in the tent with God. But he wants to be our friend. He wants us to take these things to him, because then he can kind of drip those little spiritual things into our spirit and reignite that fire. So I think it's okay to wrestle and complain and walk it out with our Heavenly Father. That is what he is there for. But what we focus on is what we manifest. So really and truly align your desire of our Father. That's what he wants for us. So y'all have a super blessed day. Stay connected to the vine, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.